Hey guys, it's usually about this time of year when I go back and review some of my favorite products that have released throughout the year. Unfortunately, I went back and looked, and it seems like this year I didn't review a ton of new gear. Not because I didn't feel like it, but because we didn't get a lot of new gear this year. I feel like 2020 was just like this year of releasing a ton of awesome new stuff, and this year we had a couple hits here and there, and I have my favorites and I'm gonna go over them. But most of the stuff this year feels incremental, like just a slight improvement on something we already have, and it feels like we kind of hit a wall in terms of streaming gear. For example, webcams. This year, Elgato released the Facecam, which is one of the highest quality webcams I've ever seen. Definitely an improvement in quality, and they released some software features along with it that made it really cool. But it's still a webcam, right? If you want to get like serious cinematic footage or some shallow depth of field, you need a lens like this. It's just the way physics and light works. And stream audio. We got a couple new mics this year. Nothing seriously game changing. The Wave XLR is a great buy and an awesome value, but essentially it is just the Wave microphone, but instead of being a condenser USB microphone, it allows you to take every feature of that microphone that was released in 2020 and add an XLR microphone to the back of it, and that's essentially all it is. The AVermedia Nexus could have been really cool if it was done well, but even then, it's still essentially a Go XLR and a Stream Deck smushed into one device. Like, nothing is truly new. Are you seeing where I'm going with this? Like, even looking forward to 2020, there's not a ton of stuff I'm excited for, except maybe the beacon gear that's coming out. It should be in January. It's just starting to feel to me like the way streaming is done, we've almost gone as far as we can go. Like, we have kind of everything we need. Like, we're just kind of building incrementally upon it, which is crazy to me, because if you look at the YouTube sector, there's always something new and insane and some crazy upgrade, right? Like, if you look at a YouTuber's or ask about a YouTuber's current setup, they're gonna talk about the newest, latest, and greatest camera that came out and all the crazy mind-bending features, or they all have this crazy, 35. This is the most popular camera for YouTubers right now. It's $3,500 just for the body. And that's just not even close to the way it is for live streamers. So I spent the last couple weeks thinking about that as this kind of occurred to me and trying to figure out why that is. And I came up with two specific reasons why. Let's talk about it. Hey, real quick, I got a sponsor for this video that I think you guys are really gonna like. You know how when you're live streaming and someone donates or subscribes or supports in some way, their name pops up somewhere on the screen, and that's really cool. In fact, that's usually the main reason that people do support and subscribe. Well, now that kind of live interaction is also possible in your YouTube videos with something called StreamElements Mercury. It allows your audience to engage with your videos in really cool ways. For example, there's something called dynamic video descriptions, where you can set things like subscription goals or latest donator on your channel, and StreamElements will auto add them to your description and continue to update them in real time. Or a big one that I'm going to be adding to this channel is description templates. I can create a module of my gear list, which is just full of affiliate links that help support the channel, and put it on every single video description. That way, if I replace a piece of gear that I use, I only have to go change it once on the module, and then this template will update for every single video that it's on. It's pretty dope. There's even a dynamic thumbnail generator that can keep your thumbnails up to date in the same way, and a shout out studio that makes it super easy to show the latest subscribers and members on every YouTube video. Research even shows a 60% uptick in engagement for Mercury users versus regular users. So check out StreamElements Mercury, link in the description below. Cool, and by the way, if you want to talk more about gear, either last year or the coming year, come check out my live stream. I stream here on YouTube, link in the description down below. All right, let's talk about some of my favorite gear that did come out this year. Something that was either game-changing or I have just personally fallen in love with. And by the way, everything I talk about will be in the links down below, so if you want to pick it out, those are affiliate links. They do help support the channel, so thank you for doing that. Number one, the YOLO box. We did a video on that last month, and this was actually something brand new. The reason I wouldn't say it's streaming gear is because it really wasn't designed for live streamers like me and you. It was definitely designed to be an on-the-go streaming solution to events, right? Like a wedding or a local sporting event or something. Either way, super cool. This little tablet that's easy to carry around that has 3 capture inputs, all I believe 1080/60. And while I said it in the video, I didn't think it was gonna fly off the shelves because it doesn't like perfectly fit the needs of any Twitch or YouTube streamer. It kind of set a precedent for what we're capable of. Like a little tablet device that you can put like 4 or 5 camera inputs into. It was insane. And I felt like if we could take that tech and really scale it down and cut out the things we didn't need, like we don't need a giant touch screen. We already have one. We don't need a built-in processor. We already have one. Like I want to see that tech be brought into add-ons that plug onto a phone or a tablet so I can use this as my streaming PC but still plug in a fancy camera into it and take that on the go. Cool product. I hope hardware manufacturers take it and run with it and do something really cool with it. Next one, PC Panel Pro. We did a review of the PC Panel Pro and I don't think I got to it super early. I think I was in like the 3rd round of shipments of this device. Maybe it was the low price, or maybe it was that it felt like it wasn't a fully complete device. But once I got my hands on it and I realized that it was a really useful device, just completely stripped down to the bare bone needs, I realized how great of a value it was. Like you could completely control all of your audio with like a little $100 device. It was dope. I mean, essentially you have like 9 faders on, okay, 4 faders, 5 knobs, but 9 different control peripherals to change the volume of inputs or outputs. And then my number 3 on this list is just a huge utility device. It's the Elgato Camlink Pro. It's Elgato's quad capture card, and I wouldn't call it like a serious game changer. Blackmagic and Magwell both have released quad capture cards before, and I've used both of them. Plus, none of them have quite the software utility that Elgato brings. Things like being able to capture with flashback recording all 4 cameras at the same time. In my new stream room I'm building, I'm setting up 4 of my main cameras at the same time, all going into one of these. So when I shoot YouTube videos while I'm live on stream for like a second channel, stuff that, you know, you turn your live content into non-live content that we talked about a million times, I can then flashback record all 4 cameras and cut between the 4 different images and make really great YouTube videos out of live streaming content. That has just not been possible for this device. Now, I don't know how many streamers utilize this. I'm actually curious to how popular this capture card is, because I'd like to know how many streamers other than myself use more than one high-end camera. If you do, leave a comment down below. I think it's fascinating. I'm actually gonna be using 2 of these capture cards in my PC and having potentially 8 cameras set up throughout the room. So we'll see how that goes. And I'm gonna tack one more to the end of this, just because I feel like literally I've never heard anyone talk about this, and I try not to bring Elgato into these lists too much, otherwise it's just gonna be a giant Elgato show. But the Elgato wall mount, severely underrated. Like, I get wall mounts existed before, so it's not like anything crazy new, but I bought 8 of them for my new room, because before I would have everything mounted to my desk, and every time I moved my arms on the desk, my camera would shake, my screens would shake, my lights would shake, everything would shake, and now I'm mounting everything to the wall. And I have already used 5 of these things. Plus, they integrate right into the multi-mount and right into all the peripherals. Like, it's just a simple, solid thing for like 30 bucks, makes life so much easier. But back to the problem I was talking about before with gear not being a large part of streamers' lives versus the way it is with YouTubers. I think there are 2 main reasons for this. First off, on Twitch, more than anywhere else, and even just, not just Twitch, but live streaming in general, there is a massive wealth or income disparity across streaming. Like, if you want to make more than minimum wage, you have to be in the top 0.06% of streamers, or that's like the top, it's like the top 5,000 or 6,000 streamers are the only ones who make more than minimum wage. So unless you're one of those top people, you're just not making any money. There's definitely some kind of wealth disparity across all social media, but it is, there is definitely more than 6,000 YouTubers making good money. A grossly large portion of all the money made on Twitch goes right into XQC's pocket. So unless these companies are able to make something super, super cheap, they're not going to sell more than 1,000 of them. And reason number 2 for this problem is related to the first reason, because I think it's the cause of the wealth disparity. And that is just the fact that these live streaming platforms like Twitch refuse to add any kind of discoverability into those platforms, which limits any kind of growth that a new or a small streamer can have, keeping that wealth gap as large as it is. But another reason that streamers generally don't grow, kind of contributing to this reason, is there's a difference in at least in my observation, there's a different reason why people go into live streaming versus going into YouTube video making. And that is, when people get into making YouTube videos, it's generally because they enjoy the creative process. They love the filmmaking, they love coming up with the ideas, they love trying new things, they love the editing process, versus in general, most live streamers, I would say, the vast majority of them who play video games just like to play video games. And they want to make money playing video games, which is why when you browse through Twitch, you just see a lot of the same thing. You see the video game and the person playing it and a little rectangle in the corner. There's not a lot of variety there. Because there's no variety, it's just not fun to sift through and discover more streamers. So just in general, because there's not as wide of a variety of content in live streaming, there's just not as wide of a variety of gear that we can get. We've kind of built most of the things that we need, and sure, we'll improve upon them, and sure, companies are always gonna surprise me and do something new and creative, but for the most part, there's just not as rich, as green of a field there. So it's just a really interesting predicament, and I do think there's a solution. I think what's gonna happen, and I've brought this up before, is that I think the future of live streaming is going to be all these YouTubers that enjoy the creative process are going to see live streaming as an opportunity to supplement their content. And a small minority of live streamers are going to be full-time streamers, and instead you'll start seeing this wider variety of content, or I should say the variety of content you normally see on YouTube, you'll see expanded into live streaming, which is gonna give way to a whole new field of equipment that we can use. And who knows what'll come first? Maybe the need will be realized because the YouTubers will start doing that first, and let's say, hey, I really want this device, I really want to do this. Or maybe companies like AVermedia or Elgato will come out with these devices and YouTubers will say, hey, I can use that to live stream. That could be really cool, and that'll start that expansion. I'm interested to see which one it is. I think a lot of interesting things are going to unfold in the coming years. I'm also interested to see in how maybe some of these gear companies are going to surprise me in this year. I love to be proven wrong, and that might be kind of fun this year. But I hope you found this interesting. I'd say I hope you found this helpful, but I don't think there's anything helpful in it. If you're still watching, make sure you hit the like button. You obviously liked the video to get this far into it. And I'll catch you next time, as always. Happy streaming.